What's going on, guys? This is Seth Ford here, and today I am back with yet another college football prediction video. In this video, this is a way too early prediction video. As you guys know, I just recently posted maybe about a week or so ago with the Alabama going on the road to face off the Wisconsin Badgers. I'll put that in the description below, and you guys can watch that if you want to. So I usually try to do a slideshow type of video since it's the off season, and usually I would also like to do where if I go the regular games, I would just read off the stats so you guys can see yourselves on YouTube. And I usually like to post these types of videos just for the fans to comment down below who do you think is going to win. Comment down below the score, the outcome, or just anything in general. Just talk about the game. That's what this video is for, mainly for the fans to just like comment down below and just enjoy some fun trash talk here and there, and also your opinion as well. So this game, we have the Texas A&M Aggies hosting the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and so this is going to be an interesting year. This is going to be an interesting week one, I believe, on Saturday, August 31st of 2024. And so, yeah, I don't know what the outcome of this game will be, but I'm going to predict it at the end of this video. And so let's go ahead and go through the slideshows. And also, I did try to get the best information I can from Ourlads.com, which is like a website where they basically predict which starting player will be on the lineup from offense to defense. So I'll put them in the link below down on my YouTube video. And also On3, those guys do a great job with the transfer portal stuff also. So I'll put them in the link below of this video. Okay, so last meeting, the Texas A&M Aggies won 24-3 versus Notre Dame back in 2001, and they had like a little series going on back in like the 80s and 90s, which is only 5 games, but the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame leads 3-2, and so yeah, there's that for the last meeting of Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. All right, so last season, as you guys also know from earlier in the year, that the Texas A&M Aggies board fired Jimbo Fisher after failing yet another mediocre season by the Aggies, which, in my opinion, a 8-4 type of season is like Texas A&M's high ceiling, especially in the SEC. Which I wish that Texas A&M, Texas, and Oklahoma didn't go to the big or the SEC, but money goes and people follow. So now we have Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, all in the SEC, so that's going to be crazy this upcoming season. And so yeah, so Texas A&M went 7-6, 4-4 in the West. They lost to Oklahoma State in a bowl game, and of course Jimbo Fisher fired. Big 12, forget that, but it's SEC. I think I had Oklahoma State and something like that. But anyways, so Notre Dame went 10-3, and of course they beat Oregon State in a bowl game, and they are independent. Notre Dame needs to join a conference. I know this sounds crazy with all these conference realignment stuff. Eventually, if they can keep their TV deal and then go to like a big conference, either like the SEC, the Big Ten, or the ACC, in my opinion, I think Notre Dame would do well in the Big Ten. I feel like that's like their prestige level of football in the Big Ten, but they would do well in the ACC as well because their other sports are in the ACC, which is kind of crazy. So coaches, Marcus Freeman has done a good job this year or last year, in the past year. So now I used to dislike Notre Dame because they never in a conference and all the other stuff, and they just never really won the big games at the end. So a lot of fans usually dislike my videos. But now I really like Marcus Freeman. I like that underdog mentality. He's a new head coach. He didn't coach like he's like an assistant head coach who, when Brian Kelly went to LSU, he became the head coach, and everybody didn't really think that he was going to pan out well. So I like that underdog mentality. But I think that he'll be a good head coach. He's already in 2 years goes 19-8, which is really good for especially going 10-3 in expectations from Notre Dame fans or just Notre Dame in general. Mike Elko, as you guys know, he recently coached at Duke. He was like one of the hot commodities from the past 2 years coming out of Duke, which Duke usually isn't really I'm a UNC fan, so they're a mediocre football school. Sometimes they have really good seasons, but then they'll just like fall off that sometimes. Not fall off, but like go rogue. So Mike Elko, if he would have stayed at Duke, I think that he would actually done really well in the ACC for future. But as you guys know, money talks, and so now he is the head coach at the Texas A&M Aggies. He went 16-9 and 9-7 at Duke. Yes, the record doesn't look appealing, but as a UNC fan, I actually liked Mike Elko. He was actually a great coach for the ACC, though he dogged Duke in the last second. So that's there's that. So yeah, but if you don't know much about Mike Elko, he's actually a legit head coach in my opinion. They beat Clemson last year. Almost should have beaten Notre Dame as well at home. So they actually had a really good solid team last year, though they had some injuries that held them hostage from last year. But I'm telling you, Mike Elko is going to be a good coach, I think, for Texas A&M. He's like a low-key, fundamental, disciplinary type coach. And I think that he'll get Texas A&M going around the corner. Okay, so the location will be at Kyle Field, Texas A&M. Coverage will be on ABC, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I believe, which is nice because I really like 7 p.m. nighttime type games. So there you have it with the location of this slide. And let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so the transfer portal news. Texas A&M, we all thought with all the past two top 5 recruiting classes that Jimbo Fisher had this team rolling, and of course he didn't. So 22 players transferred out, 28 players transferred in, notable players leaving. 5-star Walter Nolan, defensive lineman, or Ole Miss. 5-star Evan Stewart, wide receiver, goes to Oregon. Notable players transferring in, we got 5-star Des Ricks from Alabama, of course, because Nick Saban retired. 4-star Scooby Williams from Florida, who's a linebacker. So yeah, they actually still have a solid, I think, transfer portal and just solid recruiting class too. Because Texas A&M, they like to have the big money, and of course the NIL as well. The transfer portal news for Notre Dame: 18 players transferred out, only 9 players transferred in. Notable players leaving, we got 4-star Chris Tyree from Virginia, who goes to Virginia. 4-star Zeke Correll goes to NC State, who's outside linebacker. Notable players transferring in: 4-star Bo Collins from Clemson. 4-star Riley Leonard, which this is weird, quarterback from Duke. So yeah, because he played with Mike Elko, so it's very strange that he went to Notre Dame, which I thought that he was going to go to Texas A&M and follow his head coach, which he did not, which is kind of weird. All right, so the top 3 players from Texas A&M. This is based off of Ourlads. We have quarterback Connor Wigman. I can't pronounce that last name, but anyways, Connor Wayman. He has 82 completions to 119 attempts, 68.9%, 979 passing yards, 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I think, who was it? UNC picked up the guy. I forget his name already. But yeah, he already started, but they were flip-flopping between quarterbacks last year, so that's why his stats didn't show all of that. But I think that Connor Wayman, whatever his last name sounds, I know Texas A&M fans are going to butcher or just roast me for that last name, but I think he'll be a solid QB for this upcoming season. Running back Amari Daniels, or maybe Le'Veon Moss as well. So I don't know who will be the starting running back, but he had 105 carries, 532 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns, and 5.1 yard average. Wide receiver, we have Ja'Day Walker, and of course Anais Smith goes to the NFL. So I think that he will be the leading receiver. He had 35 receptions, 590 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns, and 16.9 yards average. Next slide, we have Riley Leonard, who is transferred from Duke, and of course Sam Hartman, who also was in the ACC. So it's weird that 2 ACC quarterbacks go to Notre Dame. All right, so Riley Leonard got hurt during the Notre Dame game, so he was actually a really, really good quarterback. And of course, he beat Clemson the first game. He was actually did really well in that game. So he had 95 completions to 165 attempts, went 57.6% percentage-wise, 1,102 passing yards, 6.7 yards average, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And also, he's actually a solid quarterback, but he got hurt last year, so he'll probably be the most likely the starting quarterback of this year. The running back, we got Jeremiah Love, so I think Dudrick Estime goes to NFL. So I think that Jeremiah will be the starting running back. So he has 71 carries, 385 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, and 5.4 average. And then, of course, I think that Jaden Thomas will be the starting wide receiver. 21 receptions, 310 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, 14.8 yards average. So the top defensive players, or top 3 defensive players, we have, I'm going to go through like on offense, like the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. We have the defensive lineman, linebacker, and defensive back. All right, so we have defensive lineman Nick Scorton, who transferred from Purdue. This is a huge pickup for Mike Elko. He had 50 total tackles, 33 solo tackles, 10 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 3 pass deflections. And of course, we have Scooby Williams, who will probably most likely be the starting linebacker, or I think it was outside linebacker, but he transferred from Florida. He had 52 total tackles, 27 solo tackle, 1 sack, and 2 forced fumbles. And I believe that defensive back wise, we have Tyreek Chappell with 21 total tackles, 13 solo, 1 interception, and 6 pass deflections, which I don't know why. That was a mistypo. But yeah, I don't know why they did that. But anyway, and lastly, we have top 3 defensive players for Notre Dame. We have Howard Cross III, who's a super senior, 66 total tackles, 28 solo, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. It just did that. But anyways, linebacker Jack Kaiser also returns, so it's 62 total tackles, 41 solo, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and 1 pass deflection. Notre Dame has a solid defense coming back this year. Defensive back Xavier Watts, who had 52 total tackles, 30 solo, 1 sack, 7 interceptions, and 4 pass deflections. So that is huge for Notre Dame. So I think their defense is going to be very solid for this upcoming season. The offense, though, that's questionable with the new quarterback in place, and also people leaving and going and coming in. So who knows? So let's see how that pans out for this upcoming year. Sorry for the missed typos and just the delays. So, but yeah. All right, full team stats. We have yards per game. We have 406 yards per game total. Passing yards, 270.8. Rushing yards, we have 136.2 yards. Points per game, 33.3 points per game for Texas A&M. And of course, we have for Notre Dame, offensive-wise, 432.2 yards per game. Passing, 246.5. Rushing, 185.7. And points per game, 39.2, which is really, really good. Sam Hartman actually played really good. I think they lost to Ohio State last year with Kyle McCord with a late touchdown that pretty much screwed them from going to the playoffs last year. So that pretty much killed their chances. So we have yards allowed per game, 295.0. Passing yards per game allowed to 188.3. Rushing yards allowed 106.7. And the points allowed per game, 21.3. And so, yeah, they need to work on their defensive coverage in the passing game, because that's not too good, especially for this upcoming season. All right, so enough with the little hiccups. Sorry for that with the missed typos. But since this game will be played on Kyle Field, this will be my final prediction. But predictions don't really turn out to be what is to be. But respectfully, since it's at home, I think that I'm going to go with Texas A&M as the underdogs, which are +3 over. And so I know that Notre Dame could potentially beat Texas A&M, but I think that respectfully, since it's at home in that environment, which is tough to play in, especially at nighttime too, I think that Texas A&M could potentially beat Notre Dame. But also, I think that Notre Dame could realistically beat Texas A&M. Let me know what you guys think about this. And so yeah, comment down below if you're a Texas A&M fan. Who do you think is going to win this game? If you're a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan, also comments down below. And yeah, so our Set 42 here. Y'all have a great rest of the day, and thanks for watching. Sorry for just the hiccups there, but yeah, this is my prediction video. I'm picking Texas A&M, and so yeah, see y'all next time. Peace.